Sean Diddy Kums is a big ol' freak. His ex-girlfriend Cassie is suing him for $30 million. She's suing him for unwanted relations and decades-long abuse. Like I said, Diddy is a big ol' freak and there's nothing wrong with that. What consenting adults do in their bedroom or wherever they do it, that's up to them. But I said consenting adults. Now, I read through the 35 pages of this court document. The fact that the first page of the document has a warning, you know it's going to be bad. Now, there was mention of Jay-Z, Kid Cudi, and Suge Knight in this document, and I had to clench my pearls because I'm like, what the hell is going on? Just going to go over the key details in this document, not everything, but most of it. So the document goes into details about how Diddy allegedly punched her, physically abused her, trafficked her. This was a sad situation, but I'm glad that she was able to tell her story, and I'm glad that she's suing him. He's saying that throughout their relationship, Mr. Coombs was prone to uncontrollable rage and frequently beat her. She said that this was witnessed by his staff and employees. She said whenever he beat her up, he would try to hide her and the evidence of his violent rage. He would shower her with gifts after the physical violence. She said that he would threaten her in order to force her to do things she didn't want to do with male workers. She said that she fully escaped from Diddy, but the harm that the assault and abuse caused her will haunt her forever. Now, this part of the document they labeled as factual allegations. Cassie met Diddy when she was 19 and he was 37. Within a year of signing her, he tried to take over her life and control her. There's a part in there where she went to the club and Diddy reprimanded her and told her to go home and take care of herself. She said that he was pursuing her even though she was in a relationship and he was in a relationship with Kim Porter at the time. She said he invited himself to her 21st birthday party, and at an after party, he took her into the bathroom and forcibly kissed her. She said she immediately ran out of the bathroom, cried, and told her friend. This part of the document that said Mr. Coombs lures Miss Ventura into a relationship. That he gave her pills, then she later found out that they were e-pills. He would intimidate her with his money, telling her he has lots of cash, throwing wads of money around, and he would pay for everything. He got an apartment for her in New York that was walking distance from his residence. In 2010, he also paid for her apartment in California. That was 5 minutes away from his house. He also bought her a Jaguar. It seems like he was just trying to control her, which this is exactly what this is saying. She said that she found out that Diddy was addicted to pills. She said he got pills from a doctor in Miami, and when those ran out, he wanted her to go get the pills in her name. This man had all her medical records being emailed to him personally. That's insane. He asked her what she called her grandfather, and she told him Pop Pop, and he wanted her to refer to him as Pop Pop. This section is labeled Mr. Coombs and Miss Ventura's relationship becomes violent and abusive. She was exposed to intense violence. There's a section that said that he was at home and his security staff told him that Suge Knight, his longtime rival, was spotted at a diner in LA. He began to get dressed and get his weapons ready to leave the house. Cassie said she was terrified. On at least 2 occasions, Mr. Coombs demanded that Miss Ventura hold his pew-pew in her purse. Over the next decade, multiple times each year, Mr. Coombs would violently beat Miss Ventura, leaving bruises all over her body. She said whenever that happened, he would put her up in hotels and leave her there for days until her bruises go away. In one instance, after a party with Jay-Z, Coombs beat Miss Ventura repeatedly in an Escalade. He kicked her and hit her, forced her out of the vehicle on 5th Avenue in New York City. In 2009, he found out she was talking to another music producer and got really mad and beat her up really bad. He kicked her in her face, she was bleeding profusely, and she began to throw up from the violent assault. He panicked and then put her in a hotel for a week. While she was in the hotel, she asked him to go home to see her parents, and he denied her. She was trapped in this hotel room, and he was just sending her expensive gifts. He said that people referred to their relationship as Ike and Tina. This section of the document says that Mr. Coombs forces Miss Ventura into trafficking. While in New York, he said he wanted to engage in a fantasy called voyeurism. He wanted to see her have relations with other men. So they hired a man to come to his house, and she was having relations with the man, and he liked it, and he was playing with his sausage while they were doing that. He called the arrangement a freak-off, or FO. She said that he would repeatedly want her to do this at random moments, and whenever he wanted it, she had to do it. This is sick. Some of these activities would take place at the Trump Hotel, and there is the list of the other hotels. On one occasion in 2013, Mr. Coombs had an FO set up at the Intercontinental Hotel in New York, after which he was charged tens of thousands of dollars in damages by the hotel. She said that he told her what websites to go to find these people to do the things with. Assistants would always have the hotel suites ready with all the things they need to do what they're doing. Only wanted her to get BBC. He would ask her to grab the sausage and tell him how it feels. He would pay the men a few $1,000s in cash for their services. He recorded all of the interactions and forced her to watch them at some point. She said whenever she tried to escape, he would always find ways to get her back to abuse her. In 2011, they were going through a rough patch and she started dating Kid Cudi, and he was pissed about that. He threatened Kid Cudi and then told her that he wanted to know when he was going to be home, and somehow Kid Cudi's car exploded after he sent threats. She said at one point she had to get away from him and go to Kid Cudi's house to hide out from him. Now, Kid Cudi did confirm it and said that he was threatened and his car blew up. There's parts of the document that mention that she had two black eyes. In 2015, she was filming a movie in Cape Town, South Africa, and she was romantically involved with one of her co-stars. Diddy got pissed and allegedly threatened the guy. This was when she was doing Honey 3, I believe. There's a part where they got into it at the Intercontinental Hotel, and Diddy threw like a vase at her in the hallway, and it was caught on camera. He allegedly paid the hotel $50,000 for the hallway security footage. He convinced one of his lawyers to call her when she wouldn't answer his phone calls. Now, can you imagine being a lawyer and this man is telling you to call his girlfriend to tell her to answer the phone? One of Cassie's ex-personal assistant said that this is true, and he witnessed this. Azalea Banks said that one time he beat up Cassie so bad he sent her on a 3-week vacation. One of his former girlfriend, there's an interview with her that resurfaced that said that he beat her up really bad. I feel really bad for Cassie, but I'm glad that she's coming forward and telling her story and suing this guy. This was a lot, and there's a lot more that I didn't go into that is very graphic that I won't go into.